The risk analysis worksheet of the Sustainability ROI Workbook reinforces that not doing the initiative is not a neutral decision. The company may find that its revenue is eroded as customers seek other companies that they would prefer to do business with, or that expenses increase at a risky or even volatile rate. So let's take a look at how this analysis is done. So these line items should look familiar. They're the same ones that you used when calculating benefits, except this time you're estimating how much they might go in the wrong direction if the initiative is not undertaken, factored by the probability that this will happen. And that's the two columns that you see at the top, the impact and the percent probability. So you're using the normal way that companies assess any risk, potential impact times the probability of the impact happening within the given time frame. As you did with estimating the potential benefits, mouse over the cell that you want to come up with a percent possibility in, right click it, edit the comment, and scroll down to be able to read the entire comment. You'll notice that in the possibilities section, it's suggesting that for want of a better way to estimate the impact, you can simply start at least with the flip side of the percent change that you used in the benefit calculations in the revenue and expenses worksheets. So if you were to do that, the completed worksheet in this step might look something like this. So in the case of the revenue risks or risks to revenue, we've used the same potential improvement that we showed on the revenue one, except the flip side of that, and a probability of 50% for each of those line items. And a similar kind of logic as well for the expenses, operating expenses, employee-related expenses, access to capital, which is explained by the comment cells, risk of lower asset values, and so on. So when we're not sure what the probability is, the suggestion here is you use a 50% probability until you've had a chance to check with folks in the company who are closer to that particular line item. And in fact, for this entire worksheet, it would be really good to do this with the finance people so that they have rules of thumb or precedents that they use for how they do these calculations, and defer to their judgment on how to best complete the upside risks and the downside risks of doing this project. For example, the human resources folks may not think that there's any probability of the kinds of impacts that we're talking about here happening, so you just make them 0. When we get down to the contingency risks, this is especially important that you engage the finance folks. You might start with numbers in here that look something like this. But again, you'd want to talk to the folks in finance about how they would normally approach this kind of estimate so that you are consistent with whatever methodology is normally used in the company. So this worksheet is just another reminder that it's really good to work with folks in the company that are close to each of these particular line items, just as you did with the revenue and expense kinds of savings on the expenses and increased revenue, so that you are tapping into that experience in the company and they can support whatever estimates you put in there if you are asked about that by the finance people who are going to approve your project. As before, all of the results that we have put into this worksheet are summarized and copied into the CapEx request template, and this now reflects some of the highlighted numbers that we had in that other worksheet, both the risks of doing the project and the risks of not doing the project. And now it's time to take a look at the financial analysis and the ROI calculations that'll be based on that. So this worksheet requires some thought, but the key thing is that very often when people are looking at projects, doing them compared to doing other projects, the risks of not doing the project are not well assessed, and this worksheet hopefully will help you do that in a more structured way, credible way, and ensure that the downside of not doing the project is understood when the decision to make or not do this project is being made.